Not a gray pube on that boy. He's doing fine.
That's a weird little audio snippet. Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, the show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair. Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair is a 4-episode miniseries available on Hulu and Disney+. Today we're talking about episode 1, which is called Episode 1, originally airing April 10th, 2026. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me as always, the boys, most of them, Joe, Berg, and Nick. No Gordo this week. What's going on, guys?
Heyo.
Hey.
Kusadilla.
So this is one of those, like, I guess it counts.
That's some bullshit, by the way, naming your episode 1. Name your episodes. It's okay when it's a pilot of a new show, but this is a new thing.
This is like episode technically like 112 or something. Just give it a fucking name. Malcolm
what
runs
they did
away.
with this
I don't
one
know.
is they talked about doing some sort of a Malcolm in the Middle reunion for a while now. Like, this has been talks for years and years. And I think at one point the idea was this was going to be a movie. And then instead of a movie, they basically split it up and made 4 episodes. It's only advertised as a 4-episode miniseries. It's given a separate name. So by our standards, it is season 1, episode 1, because when you go by all these other reboots and relaunches that have happened recently, we as a show have kind of lived and died by how is it categorized officially when you check IMDb and other sites like that. So if it says it's season 1, episode 1, we'll take it. If it's season 10, episode 1, then we just kind of draw the line there.
I have a question. Does this show happen if Bryan Cranston doesn't have like a meteoric rise after Malcolm in the Middle? I'm curious, who wanted this? Like, I'm not saying anything against. I was not the biggest watcher. I liked Malcolm in the Middle. I just never really watched it. I don't have a ton of, knowledge on the show. Was it that popular? I guess is my question.
It was a very big show in its day.
I will say, Nick, though, I'm in the same position as you and Roseanne. Really, all these shows, like, they just mine. If people are still alive, they're gonna remake everything. Scrubs was probably less popular than Malcolm in the Middle was, as far as commercial popularity goes.
Another one that was huge.
Scrubs is like one of those probably like all-time popular, like top
I never
10,
felt like it was at the time. I mean, look, these shows it's all subjective and everything too. And I'm not dunking on any of these shows, but I will say for our position, it's really hard because, like, how can I effectively greenlight, or any of us greenlight or cancel a show that depends on whether or not you watched 5 or 6 seasons of the show.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Previously. That's what makes this hard for us, where it's like, I like Malcolm in the Middle, to be honest with you, without tipping my hat here. I like the show Malcolm in the Middle much more than I liked this. And that makes it a hard, how do I can't objectively.
And it brings me back to my original question. I really don't think this like, if this wasn't for Bryan Cranston, I don't think it would have happened.
So to answer your question, I do think that this could happen without that, because Bryan Cranston is one of the main people who did get this off the ground. He's been like trying to do this for a long time, but he's been trying to do this for years. As big as Breaking Bad is, and it is one of the like biggest shows of all time, it's very far removed at this point. It's not like he's coming straight off of that success where he's riding that out. I think that the desire, especially again with all the shows we just mentioned that have had reboots and new like versions come out, I think this definitely is at the same level as all those other shows, so it makes sense. The approach is different, obviously, with this kind of like little, like, here's just a taste reunion thing, which I don't think is a bad way to go about it, instead of like full on, like, we're doing a new season and let's see where it goes. Like, just kind of a look into their lives, and if they want to do another one in 3 years, kind of like that. Almost the way British television works, you know what I mean? Like, just come in, do a few episodes and get out.
Goes away for a while and comes back.
I do think personally that regardless of Breaking Bad success, I think Malcolm in the Middle is a show that warranted something like this because of the fan base was big enough in its day.
Yeah, did you guys all watch Breaking Bad? I feel like we may have talked about this when we covered Malcolm, but I've never seen an episode of Breaking Bad.
Ferg's the only person who watched it and didn't like it.
Yeah, like legit in the world.
It's not even my style of show.
Not.
Anyone who knows me knows I am a...
Joe, it's boring. There's like
I watch nothing
long
but comedies.
periods of just silence, and then he'll go to the desert and cry.
I've watched...
That's not it.
basically exclusively just comedies. You know, that's all I really watch. Those types of shows never get me. I watched that show front to back, and it was amazing. I loved it.
So it's like
just tells you he's
really,
got nothing
really
to
good
compare
show.
it to.
I don't want to get too far into all these other shows because this is we talked about it off air. I mean, this
27 fucking minutes. How fucking dare you?
Again, we talked about this a little bit, and we'll go over it as we go over the show. There's a few things that eat up time that don't have a lot of substance, so we'll talk about it as we get into them. And just a couple things too. IMDb right now is like a 7.1, I believe, and then Rotten Tomatoes 80% and 73% audience. It's so new that these things could obviously change because it's only at the time of this recording, it's not even been out for a full week. So things will change by the time this episode even comes out. And then Hulu and Disney Plus if you want to watch it.
But again, though, this is people who are watching it who watched the original show. It's so hard to like separate it whenever we do these shows. Or I'm like, I don't know. I wouldn't have liked the reboot of Roseanne and been like, oh, she's on pills now? What's going on? If I had never seen Roseanne before, you know what I mean?
So that's the thing with some of these shows. I think that maybe could be a longer conversation for a different day. Maybe we do a little bonus episode where we talk about all these new reboot things. When I'm looking at some of these now, when you make a show like this, when you bring back Scrubs, when you bring back Roseanne, can you get new people in that never saw the original content by just watching the new stuff? And, you know, with like Scrubs, I think like I watched those first few episodes of the new like version, and I think you can just walk right in and watch it. This one here, if you didn't watch Malcolm in the Middle, I don't know if this would attract a new viewer.
See, with all these shows though, they go back to a time where these shows had like 15 million people watching.
Yeah.
So they're trying to pull from that audience when people actually watch TV.
Right.
The nostalgia.
It's a way different demographic of how many people are watching. It's funny too because they'd be like, only 15 million people watched the episode last week. We're canceling it. They're tanking in the numbers, and now you're like, if 2 million people watch an episode of something on terrestrial TV, they're like, holy shit, get them a Super Bowl commercial.
We did it, boys.
Yeah.
Also, I looked them up after, but like I think to Nick's point earlier, right? Like I don't hate this show. I was always fine with it, but I watched it sparingly whenever it was on and I caught it, whatever. But like the girl walked in and I was like, oh, there's like a granddaughter. And it's like, that's their daughter. And was like, I don't fucking recall their being
I
a baby
didn't
in
know
the
they
show
had
at all.
another
Like,
kid,
I was totally lost.
That pissed me off because this is this big reunion show. And instead, like, let's create a new character. You know, it would have shaved off some time. Don't create a new character other than Malcolm's daughter.
Okay, so it's a new character?
Yeah,
They didn't have a baby like at the end
They
of the show.
had Jamie at the end, but that was the baby. It's not the same character.
Wait, what?
Again, I'm so lost. And again, why this is hard to do.
They
Like,
have
what?
another kid at the end of Malcolm
And
in the
this
Middle.
girl
His name
is not
Jamie.
her?
It's not this kid. This other kid they made as the show went off the air. They had another kid because they like to bang all the time.
So this person was conceived after the show ends its original run.
Yeah, the last show ended 20 years ago.
I guess
and
that's
this
true. This
Kid's
is a
still in high
teenager.
school.
They are a teenager.
Yeah, I think that's the thing you got to keep in mind. It's been a 20-year
Well, they don't do
gap.
a good job of explaining that.
No, they do a terrible job because I didn't fucking get it. Yeah.
Well, anyways, let's get into the episode itself. There's a good amount to talk about it. Show opens up right off the bat. We talk about time killers. Starts off, we hear Hal, Bryan Cranston, and just the narration is previously on Malcolm in the Middle. And we just get like a minute-long montage of just kind of like zany moments. And it's mostly just slapping. And it's just like a solid minute of that where I feel like I don't know if that was the best way to like reintroduce you to the world.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes of gross out gags and punches.
It really just showed you a version of Malcolm in the Middle that existed that doesn't exist in this show. Because that's not what this version's like at all.
Is this the same writer and showrunner?
It is, same creator, yeah. Who we talked about, Jay, you mentioned English TV earlier.
Different.
This is the guy who tried to make an American version of Red Dwarf that didn't succeed, which is one of the shows I very much want to do on our failed pilots month.
Ken Kwapis directed all the episodes. He was like a big part of The Office.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically brought everybody back. So we get that whole montage, and then at the end you just hear him again and goes, and someone actually asked for more of this? It's like he was the someone. It was Bryan
That's
Cranston.
what killed me too. I was like, you guys all want to do, and like again, I'm not knocking that. I've been in bands that did reunions 20 years or 15 years later, and like that wasn't because there was a huge yearning for that band to get back together again. Everyone was like, wouldn't it be fun if we did this again? So like I understand it. I'm not knocking that, but it feels weird to be like, if we walked on stage, we're like, you guys asked for it and we're back. It's like, no, you have to be honest about why this is happening.
And then we get like the staticky title screen with the name of the show, and you just hear the "Life is unfair" line from the original theme. We don't get the actual old theme that we got before in its full version.
Which is wild, because if they're playing with 27 minutes, you think they'd be like, why not throw the whole theme song on anyway, right?
I wanted to see Chris Benoit put Bret Hart in the sharpshooter.
Oh, I forgot there's a Chris Benoit scene in the opening.
Yeah. It's mostly you just see Bret Hart, but yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the dogs are in the enclosed porch garage area.
First scene, we see an exterior shot of like this professional building, and we cut inside, and this is where we see Malcolm. Now, it's been 20 years, so he's an adult, and he's talking to this girl who's interning at the company that he works for. And she's like, oh, I'm so glad for this opportunity. So many people were going for this one. Like, I can't believe I got it. And they use her also as like this way to get some context as to what Malcolm's character's up to now. Because she's like, what exactly is it you guys do? And basically, they install computer systems into grocery store chains, and it helps with food banks and like making sure food's sent to the right places.
It's all the spoilage that like they would have thrown out goes to food banks.
Yeah, and I worked in a supermarket, and there's like programs that we were involved. We used to like give stuff to like local farms, and food banks would come, and that stuff exists. But he apparently is in charge of this big company that like digitizes it all now and makes it more modern and easy, And
then AI comes in, and AI does it, and everyone at this company gets fucking fired.
Well, that's how every story is going to end.
Yeah, it's depressing as fuck. I hate it. This podcast is just going to be fucking 4 glitchy Max Headroom figures talking about podcasts, and we're all going to be long dead.
So we're going to live on is what you're telling me. Right on, brother.
Lucky us. We'll live on. Yes, good for us.
Oh, no, it's Ferg Headroom.
There'll actually be a place called Fergberg by then. It'll really confuse the whole algorithm.
So he's explaining everything, and she goes, oh, yeah, and what is that, a food bank? He's like, all right, maybe you should watch the video a few more times. And he sends her off, and now we get the classic Malcolm talk to camera thing. He's like, I look different, but hey, everything about me is different. I'm happy. I'm successful.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
I was going to
say
he does not look different.
For the first thing he says is, yeah, I look different. No, you don't. You
also,
not age, sir.
He should lean into that too, right? Like, I would be stoked if I was like, remember when I was fucking 16 and now I'm 40 and look 16? I'd be so happy. Not a gray pube on that boy. He's doing fine.
That's a weird little audio snippet if you isolate that one. But he's talking about how great his life is, and you want to know how I did it? All I had to do is stay completely away from my family. And then after he says that, we cut to his family. You know what sucks? If you remember with Malcolm in the Middle, they never establish the family's last name. It's like a big, long secret. They've never said their last name. So I can never be like, and then they go back to the so-and-so's house. So every time I'm like writing a note, I'm like, the house.
I feel like we should just go from here.
Say Hal and Lois's house.
Yeah. They're showing us shots from the original show and then modern day. So you see what the exterior used to look like versus now, what the interior looked like versus now. And then that goes right into the first scene, which is just like how the original pilot starts with Lois doing Hal's back, shaving his back for him. And you get the old shot from the first episode in this. I don't think we need to show all the old shots. I get that the house is going to look different after 20 years. People aren't going to nitpick that. I don't think that was necessary.
I think it was just to show the transition, though. It was to show that they're not the same anymore.
I think a funnier way to do it, though, is he's shaving his back, but now his back is white hair, and like if you watch the show back then, as you only would have if you're watching this now.
Right.
You don't
see it.
Not to bring up wrestling fucking again, it's one of those nights, but like every wrestling book where they're like, and what kayfabe means is, and like, do you really think anybody's reading your wrestling book who doesn't know what wrestling
is?
But
they do have to write it for the one person that might be. You know what I mean?
I think
I don't think that's enough.
I think when you write things like this, though, like I said, it should be able to stand on its own. So it should stand on its own, but there's enough winks to the old viewers. So if you know, but if you don't know, you can still enjoy it. Like that should be the goal whenever you reboot something like this.
Is a wink enough? And I think as you cut in, it's funny if you don't know the show, he's getting his back shaved still. Like it works without the weird cutaways to everything previous.
Yeah. So we cut inside, we see the shaving going on, and like when you get the shot, you have an open laptop, which is covering Hal's dick. And then when they change angles, you can see that the person on the laptop that they're talking to is Dewey, who again, is basically lined up with his dad's crotch, the way the camera is set up, but
not original Dewey.
it's not the same Dewey. Dewey's the only person who didn't come back from the original cast. I don't have his name written down, but the original actor just didn't want to do it, and he enjoys being out of the public eye.
He's like heavy into academics and stuff.
Yeah, and from what I read from all the other cast was he had no qualms about being recast because he wasn't interested and didn't want to kill the character off.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, recast me.
And when Frankie Muniz talked about it too, he's like, you haven't seen Dewey in 20 years, so it's very easy to. And they got someone who looked very similar, anyways.
If you told me that kid grew up,
yeah.
This guy looks just like what I had imagined.
They did a
Dewey
good
to
job
grow
of
up to be.
So if you don't
yeah.
see Dewey for 20 years anyways, and this kid's been out of the public eye, you could have just lied. If you lied to me, I wouldn't have known. So it's like, whatever.
What does break my heart about this, though, is that knowing that Dewey will not come back to the inevitable sequel that I produce for Christmas with the Cranks, because someday I will win the lottery and I will make Christmas with the Cranks too.
I forgot that he was in that, yeah.
Still cranking after all these years.
Meanwhile, Reese is played by the same character and looks absolutely nothing like the old Reese, at all.
He got skinny.
He wasn't fat, but
he's really thin in the face or whatever.
Yeah, it's the face.
How come I got fatter when I got old? That's bullshit.
That's usually how it goes, though. That's the typical progression.
So
Fuck you, Reese.
They're Zoom calling with Dewey. Dewey's away. I don't know. I mean, if this is a way to just have it so they recast the character and they want him in, but they don't want to overdo it because it's not the same guy. I don't know.
I think that was the right move.
Probably.
Yeah. But also, we talk about this a lot too speaking of these shows, the Fuller House thing where one of the fucking Olsen twins couldn't just zoom in for 2 minutes. Get a fucking Hollywood lookalike of an Olsen twin, have them zoom in for 2 seconds.
They should have just got Kate Olsen to be in it. She looks enough like them to be the grown-up version of them.
I think she's too famous.
Yeah, I think she was I'm busy doing movies and stuff. Yeah.
Cameo. It's fine.
But
that's what they should have done. They should have bought a cameo of one of them and just tried to erase the logo on the bottom and no, it's fine.
I didn't know in the moment that it happened. I didn't see the picture until very recently, but there is a picture from Bob Saget's services where the Olsen twins were there and took a big group photo with the whole cast. And there was a part of me that was oh, I'm glad they were there for that and they all got a moment together.
Was
but then
it
it was frustrating.
Casket?
No.
You said the whole cast.
But to be fair, that includes Bob Saget.
Right. But there was that part of me don't you now wish you did the episode, just showed up for one of the episodes just to have that moment where you're all together?
I thought it was going to be the very last episode, and it still didn't happen. So
yeah.
Fuck them.
They're talking to Dewey while they're doing this. This is where we find out that kind of this whole thing's going to be based around the fact that they're having their 40th wedding anniversary, and they're throwing a party for it. And Dewey can't make it. And during this conversation, in walks Kelly, which is the new youngest sibling we're talking about. Now, again, there's a 20-year gap. So, I mean, it's not crazy that another kid was born in this time and is already grown enough because it's been 20 years.
You know what I do like is on the original series, he loved music and he's not there because now he's a musician.
Yeah, the continuity of the writing is good.
Because the whole thing when he built his own piano, I remember that episode.
So now she shows up and at first it's oh God, towel. And not that it's okay to be hanging dong with your sons around all the time, but now that you have a daughter, it is different. You know what I mean? You have to be a little bit more mindful about when you're cock out in the living room.
Is it though? Because remember in the first episode, the mother walked around naked in the house with the boys.
That's
she
true,
answered
yeah.
the door. That
she
way,
didn't know
topless.
she was naked though. He knew he was naked. I was wondering because you see a lot of Bryan Cranston in this scene, this angle.
Actually,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they hid his junk.
Banana hammock.
Yeah, I'm sure
it would have had to have been
leg tape, probably too, right?
But you can see basically down to right above his junk, and you can see into the crease of his leg because his leg is up. So this guy is hanging something in right in front of what's her name?
In front of a child?
No, in front of the wife.
Yeah, she got
Kaczmarek
right in there at one point.
Yeah. No, there's no way this wasn't weird.
So Kelly walks in, grabs the laptop, kind of spins it so she could talk to Dewey for a little bit one-on-one. And they're having a little bit of a catch-up. I was a little confused because she was oh, how's Sonia? It's it's not Sonia anymore. It's Elizabeth. No, and Annette. And was she changing her name or is it he's got different girlfriends? I couldn't pick up what was going on there.
I think that was the different girlfriends thing.
I think, yeah.
I
different
took it that
girlfriend.
she was changing her name because she's a weird celebrity and they do stuff like that.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where the joke was on that one.
I'm not going to believe that this guy that's playing Dewey is getting like 100 girlfriends. I know he's a musician.
Musicians.
The musicians, again, Rick Ocasek, one of the greatest songwriters in the entire world and one of the ugliest humans in the entire world. He was supermodels all day long, right? And R.I.P. Massachusetts own. This, I just want to say as we go into this scene, this is a scene that caused a lot of controversy. I don't know if you guys like fell into the whole thing where it was like, there was all this stuff was like, oh, the new Malcolm in the Middle is woke slop and all this different stuff.
I was
Because,
going to
like,
bring that up right now.
So I disagree. I don't think this is woke slop. I think that this is
watch more of the show.
Okay, but let me just finish, okay? What I think this is, though, is lazy. This is like a
It is
joke
lazy.
that has fucking worn through already. It's like, even the new fucking Scary Movie, it's like, I stabbed her. It's like, no, you stabbed they, them. Or it's like, guys, this joke is so far past
No,
that.
but
That's making fun of the new
Yeah,
Scream.
the way
I
when
get
Scary
that.
Movie's doing it,
But
they're
that
doing it with a
happens
very
in
I'm sorry, I meant
different
Scream. I
finesse.
meant Scream doing it. Like, I meant the
Scream.
Scream thing. Obviously, like, them making fun of it as a parody is funny. Like, I get them doing that. That makes sense. But, like, I just think that it becomes lazy where, like, I've seen this joke so many times where it's like, I'm the guy I don't understand because I don't know their pronouns. Or, like, it just seems like it's lazy writing to me at this point.
Here is the thing that I thought was interesting, because what Joe's referring to is, at this point, Hal's talking to his daughter, who's non-binary, the way that I'm understanding it. And he goes, we're going to go shopping later. Do them want to come? And then Kelly goes, him can't come with we, us has homework. And like is making fun of him not using the pronoun correctly, like grammatically the sentence is a mess. Now, when she does that, her mother goes, hey, he's trying. Don't mock him for it. And at that point, I went, fair point, Mom. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. And I'm a very like open person or whatever people want. And I do think that there is a part of that in real life. And I don't want to get too in the weeds because
Yeah, we don't get in the
nothing
weeds
comes to
about
those
this.
conversations.
And I think that, yeah, it's obvious how we feel about
But
this
I thought
stuff,
it was
but, like,
represented well enough where, yeah, he was, and if you know Hal's character too, like there's obviously no malice. He is
he's
legit
trying.
and
Yeah.
she's like jumping down his throat for it. And I mean, there
No,
is some of that in real life.
what
And again,
gets
I don't
me
wanna
is
get too
the
over-
next line, which she says to Lois. That's what gets me more than anything.
I'm not afraid of you.
Because Lois would never take that. The Lois from the original series would beat her ass. All the kids were afraid of her.
But there is a difference when it's like your daughter versus your son, right? So like the dynamic's
Sure.
different.
What I'm saying though is I like that Hal is trying, right? He's not doing it maliciously, like you said. I just think that like every time you watch a new show, it's like we have to throw a joke in for the modern generation, and we have to make it that the old guy doesn't get it. Like it's just, I feel like I've just seen it so many times. I'm just like sick of seeing this fucking same joke.
I think you ride a line. You're trying to get both audiences, obviously. The reality is, as we get older and things change, at what point are we just like old man yelling at cloud, though? In fairness, because like I said, I'm very open to everything.
Yeah.
A lot of it is old corporate people who don't understand it and they're just shoehorning it into their programming, thinking that it just looks good on their part. And they're not even like representing the characters properly, which is a whole different thing. And what I do think happens a lot in these shows, but here, I don't know.
I will say
It is what it is.
I take your point. I think this is coming from a better place than that, but I think all of those places being like Taco Bell, live Mas for they them, right? Is like the shit that makes you just be like, you can't talk about it anymore. Like it's in that way. It's just become a thing that's been run into the ground in a weird way. Where I also feel like we're at a point where like this shouldn't shock or confuse anybody anymore. Like that's the other thing, where it's like we're past that point of confusion. I mean, maybe if it was like a grandparent or like a really old person, you might be have like a little more leeway.
He is
with
a
it.
grandparent,
But he's
/ old
not super
person.
old. You watch Bryan
Yes,
Cranston
he
walking
is.
around being like a young hip guy on fucking TV still. He's like a active, normal
How
person.
old is he in reality? He's supposed to be old. All the
But
kids
he's not
are grown.
like decrepit,
He's probably
crazy
hovering
old.
around 70.
He's 70 exactly.
Also, don't say 70 is old, by the way, because
He
we're
just turned 70.
70
Either way,
is
'cause
old.
We could talk about that for 2 hours. She goes on to say to her mom, I get good grades. I help around the house. I'm the only kid without a file at the police station. And then she's like, I'm untouchable. And I get it. So like
Disrespectful.
when you
Get
look
her,
at
Lois.
that family from what we knew watching the original show is a mess, right? Compared to everyone else, she's an angel. She, like she said, she doesn't have a record, which goes far in that family. But then her mom saying, well, it wouldn't kill you to just tell your father that you loved him once in a while. And then we get the whole thing where she goes, I love you. It's like, well, that sounded sarcastic. I love you. It's like, well, now you sound annoyed. And like they're going back and forth with it, which I don't know. It was fine.
I did like his line though, where he's like, "Well, the middle one was nice." Like that's
Yeah,
a very
which he said
fun.
3
That's a
times
very
in a
like
row.
dad thing to be like, "I'm gonna take the good one and just ignore the bad ones."
Then we go back to Malcolm, and he's talking to the camera while he's driving, and he's talking about once he went to college, he completely turned his life around because that's when he realized that like being removed from his family is what helped him act less like a sociopath, and he's become more patient, he's less angry, and way more mature. Anytime he's around his family, he starts to revert. And then we get these like multiple scenes of like different examples. So
I love the car part.
the first one is we see him like at dinner flipping out. And this whole thing is just about his pronunciation of quesadilla. And he's freaking out. He's like, I speak fluent Spanish. Like, I know how to say quesadilla. And it's like, when you say it, it sounds like quesadilla. And then like he starts ranting in Spanish. And like I checked the translation. So what he actually says in Spanish is, you always do this. You try to correct people on things that you know nothing about. I know exactly how to pronounce quesadilla.
I was
This
going to
is-
look it up, but then I knew one of you would. So
I think this
You said it
montage
perfect.
is funny, but I think it goes on maybe a tad too long. Like I don't think we needed as many examples as we got.
Yeah.
No, because you had to see a little of the old life with the modern characters, and you got that.
But I
Well,
think
this
this is a little too long. There was a little too many examples.
This is stuff that confuses me later on when we know I don't want to reveal too early, but like what we find out about like the daughter's relationship with her father's family. Then we see these clips that look fairly recent, obviously, because they're like they filmed them all modern day. But so it's like the timeline gets confusing to me. But we get that. Then we have one that is funny. It's the grandmother's funeral. They're like arguing with each other, but like they're arguing while pouring the ashes. Like they're supposed to be dumping the ashes, but they're just like, you have Malcolm and Francis, the oldest brother, just like going back and forth in an argument about like her TV, like just like a mindless dumb argument. Like, and I get it. Like I argue with my brother about the dumbest shit all the time. So this is them just getting into a giant fucking argument for no reason about what kind of TV their grandmother had.
I will say too, and not to bring up wrestling again, but this is like a perfect classic early Undertaker urn that they're holding, and that made me smile very much.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
One thing I wanted to mention too, because we'll see it later, Francis historically in the show was almost never with the family. And I guess because Dewey's being removed a little bit, they kind of just have it so he's around now. And I felt like that was such a big gag in the show that it's kind of weird now that he's going to just be with them the whole time.
Yeah, because he was in
Well, he's-
military school in the beginning of the show, and then he's
He's on the ranch
the
where he
ranch.
meets his wife.
Yeah,
Right,
so
they
they
always
always
cut away
found
to
a
him.
reason to keep him away from the family, like historically the whole time.
Also, is that what's his face's brother?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh. I thought so.
So now we get another. I think they basically just wanted us to see his relationship with like all different characters, right? So we had the parents and then Dewey kinda, and then we got like the two brothers with different ones. So now it's him and Reese, and they're standing in front of Malcolm's car, and he's like, it's not showing off. It's a completely sensible mid-price sedan. And then like he just starts like keying it and being like, is this stuck up? Is this showing off? And like every time he turns his head, Reese is like kind of laughing because he basically mind fucked his brother into destroying his own car.
I do love too they didn't give him like he could easily have like a Tesla or something here, you know, especially later when he runs to the car and he can't get in. Like the gag would have been that those cars don't have like the real handles too. Like you could have made that, but I'm glad they didn't give him a fucking Tesla. They gave him like a Honda Civic or something, you know.
Again, I struggle really with Malcolm's character in this episode.
Yeah,
Um,
don't get me started. I have a
because-
whole rant.
Listen, yeah, because he's very dickish the whole time. Here, though, when we cut back to him after these flashes, he is saying, it's not them, it's me. When I'm around them, like, this is who I am. So, like, I like that there's an acknowledgement there at least where it's, but he goes back and forth. He blames the family, but he kind of knows it's more his fault.
Nah, that's bullshit. That's the like, it's not you, it's me in a breakup type of thing. But he's
And now
so
we're-
ungrateful. I fucking hate what they did to Malcolm.
And what they do now is he's explaining, though, so that's why I'm, like, in my current situation. He moved somewhere where every one of his families would have to go at least with 2 layovers just to get to him when they're flying. He's always making excuses. He's like, that's the best part about working. You know, where I work, doing all this charity stuff is that we're always busy. I have to work on holidays. And he, like, sets up fake emails that get sent to them, like, and they're timed. And he's been avoiding his family for a very long time. But there's a point that like when you talk about it, you're like, well, I mean, like it's kind of weird though that like you don't want to be near them at all.
Look, even if you don't get along well with your family, the idea of what you find out at the end that he did to his parents, they didn't do anything like that in any episode I watched with him to warrant what he
I'm
does.
trying to like not get into it
It's
yet.
hard to
but
get into it, but fuck you, Malcolm.
In the original series, there's a whole lot of tough love. Like, she forced him to go into the special class. She forced him to do all that stuff. It was tough love so he could have the best life possible. And for him to treat them like that, I get it, he fights with his brothers, but his parents are angels, and it really fucking pissed me off. And it ruined Malcolm for me.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely did a lot of character shifting here. Like, right, everyone's the same character, but people have evolved and changed. We're not walking into the same exact world like where we left them off. Everyone's a little different. The parents are a little more, Hal is always a little more like he is, but we're seeing the mom's a little less stern.
She's a little more spacey now. Like she's eased up a little and kind of.
Yeah, she's not as tough, as she's gotten older, and he's become more of a dick, talking about Malcolm. But yeah, so everyone's a little different. We're seeing evolution and change. There are some moments too, again, we'll get into it as we talk about it, where I think the stuff all makes sense. It's just how I feel as I watch it.
What also throws me off too watching this again, and this is probably for people our age and older, is I always feel as we get older, like more connection to family and stuff, right? Because as we get older, like people start going. It's like for him to have this whole thing where like his parents really didn't do anything that bad to him, for to be like, I'm just cutting them off for, we're guessing what, 20 years, 15 years. It's like, it makes you really dislike him. And then also you're like, they're going to do another Malcolm in the Middle 20 years from now. And it's going to be him as a fucking alcoholic, really depressed about how he wishes he didn't do that. And I'd much rather watch that miniseries.
So now we cut to Hal and Lois shopping in a place called Huge Mart, which I thought was going to be like a Costco, BJ's type of thing. But
it's just Walmart?
But it's not. Yeah, it's more of like just a warehouse looking regular store, because it's not like bulk items and stuff like that.
I kind of wish, in keeping with the Fox of the 90s world, it was just Megalomart. Like, I'm sure like Mike Judge would have been like, you can use that, like that would have been funnier, I think, to like keep in that universe.
Yeah. So they're looking for some ruby tassels because it's their 40th anniversary, so it's ruby stuff. And while they're talking, Craig, who's like a reprised character from the original show, runs up to them, and he works at Huge Mart now.
This dude also looks exactly
he used to work
the same.
He used to work at Lucky Aid with Lois.
Yeah. So and they bring that up, how he used to work there and had to move on. He hit some like mini disco balls for them, and as they're talking, he's talking to Lois and they're catching up. Hal kind of got called over some. He's like, oh, and he takes off. And then after like a minute of the two of them talking, Hal's like, hey, Lois, come quick. It's that famous celebrity you like. And they walk over, and now it's Hal with his group, the Gentleman Callers, as they were in the original show. And it's all the same guys. They did bring back all the guys who were in his group originally, which is nice.
This made me laugh out loud when he first grabs the toilet brush to start singing. I fucking popped so hard.
So here's my thing, and I'm not going to pretend I knew all this stuff. I had to do a little homework. I've watched my share of Malcolm in the Middle, but I wasn't like a diehard guy, watching it. So this group existed in the show. In the show originally, though, they did like folk songs with like banjos and stuff. So when they do this song here, I want a folk rendition of the song they're doing. If you're going to do this callback, then do the callback. But instead, they just kind of became his backup dancers when he does a 2-minute long rendition of Bruno Mars's Locked Out of Heaven song.
It is way too long. Also, this is not like me being like, I don't know, but like, is Bruno Mars like a very famous person?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know this song. I know his name. I don't know.
Joe, I feel like you get joy out of asking. You know the answer to this.
No, I literally I know this dude's name.
Do.
If I ran him over, I wouldn't know who the fuck Bruno Mars is.
You're just like being the guy who doesn't.
No, I don't.
The name. Give him that credit.
Yeah, I know the name. I'm not saying who's Bruno Mars. I know the name, but I wouldn't know the dude.
But this time around, right? I've known you basically my whole life. Very little surprises me when I know you very well at this point. I get you don't like a lot of like modern contemporary pop stuff and things of that nature. Bruno Mars is at a level of celebrity and fame that like it shocks me that you're not aware of him.
I'm being super honest. I know his name, but like if you said who is this and you showed me like Katy Perry or Lady Gaga, I can be like, I know who those people are. Like I don't know who this dude is. I know who fucking Jelly Roll is or whatever, right? Like I don't know, this dude just falls under some weird thing where he maybe isn't famous enough that I've seen him, or he's never been on SNL.
You know what? To Joe's credit, he's kind of been off the radar. He was like God for a while, like everywhere. But in like, I don't know, past like 6-7 years, he's
put out a couple albums, like doing other projects. But I don't want to talk about Bruno Mars forever. But I would say out of all the names he said,
again though, that's not going to help me. I don't watch the Super Bowl.
Lady Gaga is probably the only one that's more famous than him. Out of that group of people, he said, I think he's more famous than Katy Perry. I think he's definitely more famous than Jelly Roll. He did a big song with Lady Gaga recently, the Die with a Smile, which was like for Joker 2 or whatever.
Oh, well, good thing.
We don't talk about Joker 2.
Well,
that movie existed for maybe 17 seconds. And again, I didn't even fucking desire to see it because they were like, well, this one's a musical. I was like, okay, well. So some more people can cry at that stairwell, but now they can sing. Great, I'm out.
So yeah, this whole 2 minutes long, basically doing the entire song, I thought was a lot. And like I already said, I don't want to just keep repeating myself, but the fact that we did this callback with his folk band to do not a folk song at all.
Them doing this whole like musical thing, it didn't feel very Malcolm in the Middle-y.
No,
it should have been folk, like you said. That being said, for some reason when they threw the cereal, I started laughing my ass off that part of the song.
No, this really reminded me of this seemed like a Drew Carey show scene.
Yes.
I could see that, yeah. And just Bryan Cranston just like lights up the screen.
I mean, he's so funny and so likable. Yeah, it's hard not to like him in this scene, yeah.
I like that the song gets cut off because there's two people fighting over a fucking meatball sample.
The last meatball.
And you just see like the two hands clasped to the plastic cup and they're just kicking each other, like taking turns kicking each other, which is pretty funny.
You see when he walks over to break it up, he goes, "That's it, boys. It's my meatball now."
Yeah.
I didn't pick that up on my first watch.
Dana White slap fight, I think, is the dumbest thing in the entire world. But if there was a new TV show called like Shin Kick Fight, because that is like the most painful place to hit ever.
From the makers of Slap Fight.
I would 1,000% watch Shin Kick Fight. Somebody take that idea from us and make it a TV show. I will watch it.
Getting kicked in the shin fucking sucks.
Kicked in the shin or stubbing your toe. I don't know why the toes are so fragile. You can drop like the lightest thing on your foot and it can land in a certain way where like you're down on one knee with tears in your eyes being like, I'm okay. And then you hobble for a week.
Yeah. I dropped my phone on my foot the other day. I thought I broke my toe.
And the worst thing about it is, and I've broken toes maybe like 10 times, the fact that you can't do anything about it. You can't tape it. You can't splint it. There's nothing you can do. You just have to be in fucking agony every time you put a pair of pants on for fucking a month.
And hope that you naturally don't move it too much so it will heal.
Yeah.
This is when we find out, too, that there's this agreement for the anniversary. Basically that Hal is a super romantic. So he wants to do all these big gestures. That's why he's doing this. He's got other things he's been doing. But the deal is he can't do anything on the actual anniversary. That's hers. Basically because he's always the one doing these big things and she feels like it's like her turn to plan something. So she's like, you could do it before, you could do it after, but the day of, that's mine.
I think this again goes to make him a likable character. And I feel like this makes her way softer than she was in the original show.
No, she always loved him in the original show. There was always that softness. It was
no, I agree, but the fact that she's like, I want to have this thing for us and for you, like, I feel like it seems.
And she seemingly lured him in with some sex act because he said he was under duress. She's like, when you did that thing, like, he basically agreed to it.
I really love the idea of being in a relationship being like, I was under duress and it being sexual. That's so fucking funny, but so spot on.
So she walks off for a moment and says, why don't you play with your friends for a while I finish up my shopping?
Play with your friends.
You play with your friends. Also, talk about, it's their 39th anniversary. That is something to be fucking applauded.
40th.
It's the 40th.
Oh, sorry, it's their 40th.
So
the
she was saying, like, for 39 years, though, like, you've been doing all the things, so it's, you know, it's my turn.
Do we think they're married for 40 or together for 40?
Married for 40.
Married.
This actually, this is a thing that comes up later, and it's confusing if you don't know the situation. So
you should have watched the show, Gordo.
Would you like to see my very long notes about this 27-minute show? I watched, although I did have to take a break halfway through to put a crying baby back down to sleep. And I did not succeed.
So Hal's talking about, you know, like, I want to do all this stuff. Like, I don't want to, like, they're like, listen to her, man. You're the only one who's still married. Like, all of those guys are divorced at this point. So he's like, just do what your wife tells you. And he's basically, he's like, I'm in trouble for loving her too much, for doing too many nice things. And he's saying, like, you know what then? every moment of every day leading up to this, I'm going to be doing all this stuff that, she's going to want to run screaming at the sight of me. And then the next thing you see is her gardening, and he just drives up with like this like dump truck and just like legit just buries her alive in flowers at one point. And it's almost like the old classic horror movie where she's like looking up to camera.
His manic laugh fucking killed me too.
It's like a Universal
so
monster film. Yeah.
His laugh was just sheer excitement when he dumped all the flowers on her.
Until he has to dig all that out. You get a whole truck full of loam dumped in your driveway. It's a lot of work to move it.
So now we cut back to that piece of shit Malcolm, and he's in front of the house, and he's about to take us inside, and he's saying like, not bad, huh? He's like, and that's not even the best thing. The best thing's actually inside. My daughter, Leah, she's kind of a trophy I won in college for attending my first kegger. She hates that joke. I did think this was funny. So he heads inside. He's like, her mother, Dreamer, yes, her name's Dreamer, ran off 3 days after giving birth. And they show the photo of her in the delivery room with like the cigarette in her mouth and all. She was like, I got a kick out of that quick gag.
She looks like she was really into a band like The Used or something.
I feel like that would be, I don't know if she comes into these next few episodes. I feel like if they were to expand past this, that would be like a fun character to introduce.
Yeah.
So he's talking about, he's a single dad, but he's been doing a good job. And basically his method has been, he just does the exact opposite of anything he thinks his parents would do. And then he goes and knocks on her door and opens it. And you just see her like crying in her room, and he closes the door in a panic. He's like, I won't make it worse. I won't make it worse. And then you cut into her room now where she's alone. And then because it's Malcolm's daughter, we reveal that she too talks to camera. So she's the only one other than Malcolm who can like break the fourth wall and talk to us.
And then she's the narrator too.
So she's going over kind of like all these other things. She's like, I don't cry like this all the time, but I also have, all these things. And we're getting just in that like quick, if you remember Malcolm as a kid, she's her father's daughter. So he walks in now again to, hey, what was wrong? And we find out she was invited to this girl Allison's birthday party. He's like, well, why is that sad? She's like, I got invited like as a joke. They don't want me to go. And if I do go, they're just going to freeze her out until she's upset and then like call for you to come pick me up. So she's isolated at school, said, I've never had any friends. And my personality, by which I mean your personality, makes it impossible for me to ever have any.
I gotta tell you, this whole scene as it comes up is like, you were so nice to me, I have no armor. Like, your personality is like, I'm getting very nervous about raising a daughter right now. Like, this like really was clutching my chest a little bit.
And he's trying to like de-escalate and says, well, you know what? You want to know my list? Like, you're intelligent, you're beautiful, you're hardworking, you're really perceptive. She's like, yeah, thanks for that too. That's how I notice every smirk, every slight, every microscopic eye roll since the first grade. And that is one of those things. There are people who like, that was kind of a thing of his, like you're super attentive to that. I've always kind of like, to a bit, I feel like that's something that I've always thought I was like decent at, is like catching those little nuanced things from people and social cues. And like, that is a lot because you overthink all the little things. You know what I mean? You catch every little nod sometimes. You go, what was that all about?
I think, too, it gives you a good bullshit meter, which I think all of us have.
Sure.
A pretty good bullshit meter. I think you're around people like that enough and you're like, you become adept to that. I think...
I think that's a part of growing up in the Northeast, too, where just so many people are full of shit.
Just so full of shit.
Yeah.
So everyone's full of shit, but also really mean and sarcastic, and it puts you in this weird middle ground, yeah.
You need to have a weird sense of settings.
And he's saying, look, I'm sorry going through all this. It's going to get better. It got so much better for me when I went to college. So for you, that's less than a decade. And she turns to the camera and goes, it's actually worse when he tries hard. And it's funny because like, and there's more example of it later in the episode too, but I think this is where it's funny, right? He talks about his parenting style is just do the polar opposite of everything his parents did. But then you learn that like, that doesn't work either. It creates its own problems.
This is also literally a Seinfeld plotline, right? Like whenever I'm going to do something, I know it never works. I do the opposite. That's the whole George,
with George,
mentality, right? Then also like Malcolm in the Middle's fine, whatever, but like Dr. Tim Whatley is clearly the greatest Bryan Cranston role of all time. But I feel like you do so much work to do the opposite. Like that makes me not like Malcolm even more. You know what I mean? Like you should raise your kid and think about things and like at least think of your first impulse, not just immediately have the like whatever I think of my parents would do. I would like that's gonna make him of course not attentive, right? Because he's so in his head. This poor girl has had to deal with this the whole fucking time of her life. And she's what, 15, 16?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Well, it
this
comes up.
this
It comes up
decade,
later,
but
but to say it now, like this is when it comes up that he's so soft on her that hurt her. She said, like, I have no armor because of you. This is when you look at the direct difference between how he was raised and how his mother treated him as a kid, and he's trying so hard to do the opposite that now her problems are a direct relationship or a direct response to the fact that she's been treated the opposite way that her father was. So, like, there is that, like, meet in the middle thing, no pun intended here, but, like, the answer isn't the extreme on either side. So, because he's going so far away from his parents, she's developing all these other issues now. While they're having this conversation, by the way, Malcolm's phone goes off, and he looks down, and she's like, why did you look nervous there? No, it was work. It's just like nothing. Like, I'm talking to you right now. She's like, no, you looked nervous when you looked at your phone. And this goes back to what she was saying before. Like, she's very attentive to, like, these little cues. He runs out. He's like, I'm not going to smother you, but I'm here like always. I love you. And he shuts the door, and he gets in the hallway, and we see that he has a missed call from his mom. He plays the voicemail so we can hear it. Malcolm, I need you to call me back about the anniversary. We don't know when you're coming. If you could let us know, because obviously you'd never be that monstrously inconsiderate. Love you. And that's when he's like, I'm not going to answer, but like, I'm going to send an email. I have it auto set to time at this time, so it looks like I'm being considerate. The amount of work that he's spending just to not talk to his parents at all is a lot.
He always fought with his brothers. He could have at least flown the parents out.
But like, I know plenty of people who like don't have the greatest relationship with their parents. I'm sure we all do, right? Like, and they coexist with them. I mean, like, I don't know anybody ever who's been like, I've just ghosted them and I don't like answer anything. Like, that's so fucking weird to me.
I always feel like there's a line, right, where it's like, to what degree is it worth it? You know, and I've had issues with family members and stuff myself. We all have, right? So I'm not judging anyone for their decisions. But you look at this, like, this show is based around the fact that it's like your parents' 40th anniversary, right? And we already know that he's avoiding holidays and stuff. And I always look at those as the moments that, like, you got to take yourself out of it sometimes and swallow your pride, because it's not just about you all the time. When you're skipping Christmases and things like that with your parents, because, like, these small things, it's like, is that worth it in the end? You know, and I know this is just a show, but, like, you know, the way this whole thing's being set up, and it comes up later, and it's like, because you don't know when it's going to be someone's last holiday. And, like, that stuff, like, I used to always think about, and still do to a degree. Like, we mentioned it, we have less family now than we did years ago, right? And, you know, sometimes you go, like, could this be the last Christmas everybody's in this room? So, like, when you start skipping those over dumb shit, is that, like, really worth it in the long run if you can't put aside, like, whatever things you got going on for, like, a few hours?
And that's my issue. This ruins the original series too, because this takes away the happy ending. And now I know that Malcolm was away from the family for 20 years. They've been completely separate and missing him. Like,
yeah, it's weird because
Disney loves to do that with established characters. They did the same thing with Indiana Jones in the last movie.
But the thing is, it's like, why is it this extreme? When you don't talk to your family for this long a time, it's usually because something really bad happened. And in this case, and from what we're seeing, there's nothing to warrant this many years. Like, they didn't give us like oh, well, ever since this, I stopped talking to my family. It's just like, nope, I'm just happy when they're not around. So I just iced them all for the last 20 years.
You mentioned Christmas. It makes Malcolm a serial killer, right? Does that mean that every year you watch Clark Griswold crying watching those home movies in his attic of Christmases past, and he just goes, huh? Because, like, if I saw somebody not be emotionally touched by that, I'd be like, watch out for that person. They're the Gigolo Beach killer or whatever, you know? Like, that's a bad, bad person.
So now we're cutting to Hal and Reese, and they're doing, like, tile work in the bathroom. It's weird. So it's, like, basically the way this whole scene was, Reese was more rebellious in the show, if I remember, right? When he was younger.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like, I don't know what it is. I guess he just doesn't have a lot going on in life. So he's like really focused on this relationship with his dad. So now he's just been doing all these like odd jobs with him around the house that it's like, it's busy work. We come to find out like they didn't even need to retile. Hal told Reese that they have to retile the floor every 6 months. So they've just been doing all this shit.
This is like sadly realistic for Reese, isn't it? Like, it's like he was just kind of like the fuck up kid and never figured it out.
From a practicality standpoint, this makes me feel bad and how great Hal is, though, because you ever see a 70-year-old guy who does tile still? No, because that's so bad. You're on your knees banging on shit with your back hurting. Like, doing tile work is so fucking hard on your body. He's making a 70-year-old dad do this shit.
So we're at like this polarizing, like, who are these people? Because Malcolm leads you to believe that, you know, like they're these awful people. He doesn't talk to them, etc. But then you have a scene where the dad's doing like this really sweet thing for his son who's like struggling, right? Like, am I missing something, or is it really just that far off from
Malcolm is evil? It's just that
You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
mean, this
Like-
whole
Yeah.
thing, I think that's the problem, is that, like, Malcolm's just a dick. And that's, like, what this whole thing comes down to.
Sure, yeah.
And, like, anything that you would know from the early show isn't, like, represented enough here, because we've seen
And
growth
that's
from
my
all the
thing
other
too. Is
characters.
I did not see enough of the original Malcolm in the Middle to have like a really good.
I'm in the
base
same
So
line.
he
line.
had
Like,
dickish traits in the original series, but they weren't evil. This is evil to me.
Yeah. But I
Like-
think you need to remind us, like, usually, like, there's things I said, like, I don't think I needed to see what the house used to look like, right? I don't need that. But if we're going to flash back to old shit, show me specific things that maybe could warrant him not wanting to be around the family and why it's so toxic. Them being like, you say quesadilla is weird is not enough to be like, I don't need to be near my family anymore.
You have it on my car. I'm not going to talk to you for 20 years. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
But yeah,
Are
in
we
this
just
year with-
seeing? Are we just seeing? Was it Frankie Muniz in Punked when he freaked out, and everyone was like, "Oh, I think that guy might be kind of a psycho." Like 20 years ago, we were like, "Did they write this for that?"
Real Frankie Muniz is living his best life right now. He's like a race car.
He's a race car
driver
driver
and
now, right? Yeah, and he was married to Cher.
Do you
What?
share?
Wasn't that? What's the Farrelly Brothers movie? He's married to Cher in.
Oh, I thought that was like a real weird, like, side note
No,
thing.
it's
that I
one
was
of those like
unaware
weird
of.
Farrelly Brothers movies that like didn't take. That's like the two.
Three Stooges.
No, it was. I wanted to like that one so much. It's the one before that where it's like, are they twins, identical twins, or
Two Stooges.
two Stooges? Yeah, Larry and Barry. Fuck, what movie was it?
Dumb and Dumber.
Stuck on You.
Stuck on You. Yeah, he's
Oh,
married.
I forgot
or
about
he's
Stuck on
dating
You.
Cher in Stuck on You, and like Cher like is in the movie.
Anyways, just to get back to like this scene here.
We could just talk about Stuck on You and Three Stooges
Yeah.
more. Why not?
So it's this whole thing with Reese and Hal. Basically, Hal's just finding things to do with Reese to basically lift his spirits, to give them time to bond, to kind of give him purpose. But yeah, they're doing stuff like this. It's just they're retiling, they're doing all this home improvement stuff, and that's their way of passing the time these days. But at what cost? Because these home improvements are expensive, especially when you're retiling all the time.
Upside though, they're
Or?
improving the house.
Oh, but they're doing the same parts over.
Yeah, I guess if you're just retiling over and over again, that's a problem.
Because he's like, now that we talked about how we've just been doing this to find things to do, like we could do other stuff that's less expensive. And that's when Hal's like, we could do like a jigsaw puzzle. And Reese like freaks out. He's like, no jigsaw puzzle. We're doing this. And like, I was a little confused by some of the scene, to be honest with you, like the angle that was coming from. I felt like we didn't get enough context of like what's been going on with Reese to justify like why
you
he's
get it all in the next episode.
but like then there's this whole part of like, Dad, have you ever heard of a metaphor? And then he's like trying to use a metaphor, and it's just real weird. But he says like, we need to do this because I'm trying to build my life back together. You're the tool helping me do that. And like he does the whole thing, and it's kind of a weird speech and like drawn out, but the whole thing's paid off when you cut back to Hal and he's sobbing, going, I will always be your tool.
Now, I will say here, I highlighted this line because I felt like this was either, maybe it's intentional and they're like pranking all of us, or it's not, but he said, I'm spending a lot of money fixing things that don't need fixing. That is a metaphor for this, like, continuation of the show, right? Like, they're spending a lot self-deprecating.
I didn't think
Yeah.
of it.
That's
What a
good
great
point.
metaphor.
Right? Like, it's...
I don't think
thought,
they would
like,
put that into the episode because that would be self-deprecating.
Sure, but, like, does it not make sense?
Do you think this is the point in time where we would have to explain what a metaphor is to Gordo?
To Gordo? Gordo. And a simile is... it's like going back and forth.
What was that movie where Danny DeVito taught like the...
Twins.
Yes, twins. He taught like the military kids, like
He
one of the
taught
kids.
Batman.
Matilda.
Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Renaissance Man.
There-
Wow, what a movie I haven't thought about in a
There was
very
like
long
the,
time.
I
the
love
kids
that
were like
movie.
the dirt dogs, whatever. Like they were the dumb kids in the military that he taught.
They were the double D's for being
Double
dumb
Ds.
as dogs.
And then, but I
This is
remember
in
he did the
Shakespeare.
it was the metaphor simile comparison was like part his lesson which stuck with me because that's what, like, oh, you use like her as when it's this one. Like, so.
Wearing camo. Danny DeVito with
He's just in
camo is
school
a
thinking
wonderful
about
thing.
Danny DeVito acing his English test.
Also, a slight sidebar, but Ferg, you'll appreciate this. So, a few months ago, one of those bootleg t-shirt places I shot from, like, posted a "Throw Mom from the Train" t-shirt. At the very back of the shirt is just a giant picture of her that says, "And this is Mama." So, I, of course, bought it, because I'm not going to not buy a "Throw Mom from the Train" t-shirt. And
That's
I wake
excellent.
up one morning, and my wife is like yelling at me. She's like, "You have no idea how scared Andy was." She rolled over and saw the giant picture of Mama on your back and like freaked out. And the only time she's ever freaked out about a t-shirt of mine was the Offspring Americana shirt because she didn't like the giant bug. And I have like now a list of shirts I can't wear to bed, and it's that one and the "Throw Mama from the Train" t-shirt.
I mean,
Parenting.
she is terrifying.
Yeah,
I like
totally.
the
I
idea.
totally got it. I had no argument. I was like, fair enough, done.
In my head, like at the end of every night, Joe walks out of the bathroom like a little kid showing his wife his pajamas for the night, and he has turn around, let me see. Okay, that one's okay. Like, you said I could wear this
Joe?
one.
Joe's such a toddler. His wife takes him pants shopping, and he can't. He has to get pajama approval.
Also, failure, by the way. No pants bought.
Next scene, we're at Leah's high school, and she's walking down the hallway and talking to camera, and she's like, "You know what's great about going to a fancy private high school? Nothing. It's the same emotional shithole as every other high school." After she says that, we see that girl Allison, who invited her to her birthday party, like walks up with a group of her friends, like, "Oh, Leah, did you get the invitation to my party? It's gonna be really fun. Dad got an Aura camera. Gordo, where are you? What's an Aura camera?"
I was
It's
gonna
that
say.
camera that spins around you.
Oh,
goes all the way around.
Oh, okay. Did you guys ever do one of those? I've been at a birthday
No.
party that had one
No.
before. They're fine, and you watch it like, oh, that's fun. But like, it's really like those things only exist for like social media posts because it's like a weird thing to look back. Like, I like to look back and look at pictures. I take a lot of pictures, but like something like that is weird. It's like a one-off. It's like it's something basically made just for Instagram stories. Like, there's no other use for it.
Yeah, that stuff's hard now because it's so disposable. And like, there could be like imagine if there was like a solar flare tomorrow and all our phones got wiped out, right? Like, you would lose years and years and years worth of memories. We try to like do once a year now, like print out like 50 photos, like since we've had a baby, to be like, at least we have like a physical representation, because like you have no idea
It's
where
the
things are
never-ending
going.
chase. You're trying to digitize all your physical media because that stuff will deteriorate over time, but then you try to make physical copies of all your digital
digital
media
shit,
because
yeah.
you're afraid it's going to get deleted. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, how many fucking spares of everything can I have? Like, I just started digitizing a bunch of VHS tapes. I've been doing that, and I'm like, well, do I need like multiple externals now? So like I have them backed up on a few things. So if one of them dies
Yeah, you need like
and
points
breaks,
of
like I
redundancy
still
and
have all
failure,
these
yeah.
movies on something else.
And like VHS tapes are like any magnetic tape, like cassette tapes, VHS tapes, or whatever, like they're like the most susceptible to sun, water, fucking mold. Like they're just
And that was my fear
not-
getting into it because like I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, I'm turning 40 next month. I have all these like home movies that are now 40 years old, like when I was a baby. And if I don't do something with these tapes soon, there's a chance that time will just take them from me. So like I need to start digitizing stuff. But yeah, and then you get into this game of like, we're moving the media from one thing to another because we're like constantly just fearful that it's going to break or get deleted, whether it's real or digitized.
Like, if I was a nation state actor and I wanted to like fuck with America or like people at large, the Western world, I'd be like, just find a way to solar flare and delete like all of Instagram or all of Facebook. People would lose their fucking minds. They would be way more mad than like,
You'd think it's an attack, but that would be the best thing they ever did for it.
you would see just like 50-year-olds being like, I'm free now. Like, I can go outside again.
Oh, look, a cloud.
Now my racist thoughts just have to stay in my head.
Oh, it was so much easier when that was a thing for people. Yeah.
There's a point where Leah's having this interaction with the girls, right? And they're telling her like, oh, you come to the party. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll be there. The girls walk away. She notices one of the girls in the other group is like making like a face to her friends, almost to say something like, oh, what a loser. It's like, you can't tell exactly, but she just like makes a gesture. And this is where she goes back to how she hyperanalyzes everything she sees. After that, she turns around. Another girl walks up to her, a girl named Cheyenne. She's like, hey, I couldn't finish my math homework. Can you show me like how to do this thing? Oh, of course. I don't mind at all. And she says, you don't have to panic about it. And the girl's like, I wasn't panicking. And now she's just like being very matter of fact with her because she knows, oh, well, I noticed that you've been pulling your hair out. It's like, oh, I didn't think about it. It's like, oh, nothing. Now she's like getting into a thing like, oh, maybe it's not that. Like, maybe you have ringworm and like talking about all this stuff. And she's just getting into like a word soup where she's just like, she can't get herself out of it. She like too matter of fact brought up all these things she noticed about Cheyenne, which made her super uncomfortable with herself when all the girl was trying to do is ask for help with the homework. But I guess she's just too like literal that she kind of got stuck in the situation.
She's been raised by Malcolm to be Debbie Downer. She's like, maybe it's ringworm.
And then she like turns to camera and goes like, oh God, what do I do? I should make it look like I was joking. And then she just turns back to her and starts laughing like a fucking psychopath until like two other girls grab Cheyenne and walk her away. Like, we got to get you away from her.
It is funny that, like, laughter is the most 50-50 thing in the world. Like, you can see someone laugh and be like, we're happy. My brain is okay with this. And people laugh a certain way and you're like, oh no. Like, it triggers, like, a weird thing where, like, people laughing the wrong way makes you so fucking uncomfortable. Like Joker 2 with Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars.
There was no laughs in that movie.
I'll file out under movies I'll literally never fucking watch.
Yeah, I was
Same.
bummed. We keep talking about that Joker movie because the first one I love so much. I love the first one so much.
The Joker is my favorite comic book character of all time. Has been since I was a little kid. It makes me sad to be like, I don't want to watch that. Same thing with Batman, because Batman is right up there. It was like, Batman's Ben Affleck. It's like, I'm not watching it. I just can't do it.
He's a great Batman.
I didn't care. I didn't want to watch it.
We cut to her now, like, I don't know if was this the principal's office or a guidance counselor? I wasn't sure.
Guessed
I
principal.
assume a counselor.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't say.
So
Are there still guidance counselors? It must be a fucking
yeah,
hornet's
probably more
nest
so
being
than
a
now than
fucking
ever.
Guidance counselor in a high school nowadays.
They're
Jesus
probably just
Christ, what
like
a terrible job.
school therapists now instead. But she's in there, and Lee is apologizing for everything that happened. The principal is like, "You othered Cheyenne in view of her peer group. What does that mean? To other someone?"
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was wondering it at the time, and I was like, I must have just missed something. I didn't. Care
Oh,
enough to
it's
go back.
what she did to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Lee is kind of going on again. It's like, I know I upset her and I was trying to fix it, but I kept making it worse before I could make it better. And that was only because right before other girls hurt my feelings, which, you know, I'm not blaming them. They can't help it. And then she's going into like, you know, someone's theory about like, you know, basically like a hurt people thing. She's just like rambling on. And I know they're trying to like make her like, this is clearly Malcolm's daughter, but I feel like this wasn't exactly what the Malcolm character was. She's saying she got her
Malcolm
personality
was
from
just smart. He had basic human skills.
He was
Yeah,
smart and little, so like he had issues by being like the smaller guy who was
Yeah,
also
I remember
smart.
when we did Malcolm, because we had just did Smart Guy around the same time, and they were like similar in a lot of ways. Where this girl just has like, I'm not saying to be funny, but like they're almost portraying her more like she has like an autism type of deal, where it's just like social cues that she's dealing with, which is not what Malcolm's character was.
It's just a product of the way Malcolm raised her. That she doesn't have those basic human
That's
skills.
a good point.
Yeah.
Am I giving this too much credit?
No, I think there is a lot of stuff in this writing that's like intentional and smart, but I think they don't give you enough context. I think what happened in a lot of this episode is they over-assume that we know too much going in. We talk a lot about show don't tell, but sometimes you got to show a little bit. And I feel like this just assumed too much of the viewer, especially when you're citing material that's like 20 years old a lot. So I think there's a lot of stuff that was unsaid that maybe you needed to give us a little more. And I know earlier I said, hey, we don't need to see this. We can just assume, but it's that balance, right? Depending on context.
I guess they couldn't do it with her, though, 'cause she's a new character. You can't show old stuff.
No, but in those cases, you need to explain things a little bit better then. Next scene, we're at a tattoo shop and we see Lois and Hal sitting there watching a man get this giant tattoo of a poem he wrote, a poem that Hal wrote for Lois.
There's a
And it's
back
like,
piece.
it was weird but it wasn't just his back. It was also on the backs of his arms, which made it so weird.
This was weird. This was like, I don't know. This is like
This was such a random, because it's a quick one shot type of deal. We see him and he goes, once a week he'll stand in front of the yard shirtless and flex. And that's it. That's the whole scene. You just see this real quick. and it gets away from it.
What do you think the money paid for this was? Because a tattoo like that is like probably a few grand.
I don't know, because like objectively an easy tattoo to do, right? Like there's not a lot of art
It's still
involved
full
in
body.
it. Yeah, but it would.
If you're like a
Big guy,
lettering
whole
person,
back of arms. I mean,
maybe
yeah,
less
something
than you
costs
think, though.
You're
I'm
paying
sure it
for
fucking
time,
hurt.
though. You're not paying for like the level of talent. You're paying for times. That probably took all day.
No, you're also paying for the level of talent. You know, you could get a fucking 6x6 inch tattoo, and if it's just fucking words versus a portrait, the portrait's gonna be more.
Well, there's a lot of
expensive,
factors.
right?
Regardless, that tattoo would be expensive just because
Yeah.
of sheer size.
And be a
Looks
nightmare
like
to heal,
who's
too.
the wrestler that had all the Chinese
Hakushi.
scroll? Hakushi. Look, remind me of Hakushi.
I think I have one of him.
I was going to say, Jay definitely has the figure somewhere, right?
I
I
knew what
like
he was
that it's
doing the second
within
he started
arm's
looking
length
around.
of you without having to get up. You're like, well, I put Hakushi to bed last night.
What you can't see is just Jay's just sitting in action.
He's up to his knees.
It's a plastic throne I've created. But yeah, so that was kind of weird because even the gesture was like, you wrote this poem, you got it tattooed on another man, and you're just going to hire him to stand in your yard and flex as a sign of your love.
Which is weird because he's also not muscular.
Yeah,
He's
it's a fat
just
guy.
like flabby guy who flexing wouldn't really do much for.
Maybe when he flexes, it all just becomes muscle.
So
Like Vader.
after that, we get back to Malcolm and he's in bed and he's like, get ready. You're going to see something shocking. And the next thing we see is that he has a girlfriend. She opens up the door from like the bathroom. And this is when we first meet Tristan. And she's like, hey, I'm proud of us. We actually got all the way to bed before we went at it. Huh. And like walks back into the room and like, oh, so not only does he have a girlfriend, but like she's just extremely sex hungry and they just fuck all the time. I thought that was like a weird little additive to put in there.
This is not a knock on him. I would say this to any actor, but this feels like notes where you're like, why don't you make it though so the girl always wants to fuck me? You know what I mean? It seems like the most actor written notes ever.
That's the Adam Sandler thing where he's like, I got this great idea for a movie. I'm going to make out with a hot girl and we're going to go on vacation. Like every movie.
Me and
I'm
Drew
really
Barrymore
good at
live in Hawaii.
basketball.
Like, okay, man, whatever you want. Yeah.
He's basically used movies as an excuse to go on vacations. That's like all he does in every movie is goes on vacation somewhere.
I mean, but like, how can you hate on that? Like, what a fucking
No,
genius.
smart.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you're a big fan of The Lonely Island, right? And they wrote that whole song about being in Japan so they can make a music video where they go to Japan.
I know what some of those words mean. Yeah, sure.
He wanted to laugh, but he's being stubborn.
I don't know the song. I hate those guys. They're not funny.
I don't think, well, we've had this, we'll talk about it later. So,
Also, I forget if we mentioned it before, but like that dude was in the, which should we cover a couple weeks ago? Animal Rescue. Was that last week? That dude was like just trying to do an impression of Lonely Island guy, right?
We talked about it in the episode, and we said no.
Okay, I couldn't remember because that was a
We
week
already
ago,
said
and in my
no.
life, that's a fucking year. So
Go back and listen. No, it's last week's episode. Go back and listen to that one.
I still think so. Anybody
anyways,
listening again, let me know if you think so because I think I'm right.
Tristan heads back to the bathroom and Malcolm's talking to us some more through the camera. So Tristan's my girlfriend. And I mean, it's so much more than that. She loves me. It sounds like a lie to me too. Like he's in disbelief that he has this girl. And she heads back into the room and joins him in bed. She's like, oh, how was your day? And he's like, oh, it's good. And he's talking about a grant he won and how he even beat AI. She's like, you don't have to keep proving how smart you are, except for when you do my taxes. That was awesome. And it's good though, because you find out like, you know, he met a girl that like loves him for who he is, not his, like, I guess what would be his one strength is that he's a genius, right? And she doesn't give a shit about that.
Also, does his taxes and he owns a nonprofit. You know how fucking stressful those taxes would be? That is a keeper.
They continue to talk in bed. And he says to her, like, so what do you care about? She goes, I care that you always listen to me and you're supportive and you keep your promises. She's just talking about how she loves that he loves her and all this stuff and how grateful she is. Cuts to him and he's like kind of crying like tears of joy. Yeah, I thought we were just doing banter. I guess you see him as his father's son now because we know Hal is a big crier. Right after that, his phone goes off. He's like, oh, I got to go home. Through like the conversation as he's getting ready, us learning that Tristan's going to meet Leah soon. And they hadn't done that as of yet. So I don't know how long he's been with Tristan. They don't really tell us that to my knowledge. But this is going to be the first time that she's going to meet his daughter.
I would assume a little while, right? Because like you want to be with the person for a bit before you introduce your kids to them.
Yeah.
But this is the only time ever that I feel like in this whole episode you like Malcolm. Aside from being like, oh, well, he does like a charity that helps people get food. You're like, you're a shithead until you're like, well, at least I know you care enough about your daughter that you're...
Because the thing that makes him insufferable right now is when he's talking all this shit about his family. Right now, he's not with them, talking about them. So the scene where he's completely removed from having to talk about his family makes him a lot more likable because he's just a dude with a girlfriend at this point.
Yeah, but he is being a little braggadocious, so he's a douche.
Braggadocious.
He's definitely excited to just be in the situation, right? He's probably not used to having a girlfriend like her or anything like that, so...
I will say, though, having never been in that situation, that must be a nerve-wracking situation.
Yeah.
This is a girl I'm dating, and I like her a lot, and I have to introduce her to you guys. It's like a nerve-wracking situation. Like, these are all my idiot friends. You know, like, I feel like that's, like, something we relate to, too, where, like, you bring your girlfriend that you're dating, this person you like, around your friends who you, like, are yourself with. Like, imagine that with your kid. That must be so much fucking worse.
Just keep them away.
It's easier.
We cut to Hal and Lois, and they're, like, at this park. It's literally just Hal on a soapbox with a microphone, like, praising Lois, and...
Hal really comes off as the hero of this episode, right?
Yeah.
He just seems so fucking sweet in this.
This was, like, one of the weirder ones. I don't quite understand why it's happening this way. He brought a legit soapbox with him, but it looks
That's
like they
just Hal,
were...
man.
Yeah, they were going to have a picnic, or they're having a picnic, and there's a lot of other people. It's a public park, but he isolated himself so he could just stand on the soapbox and profess to everybody who can listen why he loves her so much.
How often do you guys go to a park? I feel like that's like a not really that often thing.
I mean,
Jay's not allowed near parks anymore.
When to go to a park, well, like a park like that, like a public garden type of park thing, I feel like you need to have a reason, right? Like those people like having a picnic. Do a lot of people actually have picnics?
I don't know. I mean,
I love a good picnic. Personally, I don't have them often, though.
But during COVID, I went to parks more, right? Because it was like, hey, people can meet outside and like sit and hang out, right? Like there was a weird like park resurgence because of that. But I feel like, I don't know. I worked next to the Boston Commons for over a decade, and I was like, I'm not going to go to the park.
I've never quite understood the appeal of a picnic.
Eating outside is fun. Eating outside is fun if you're not on a street. That's
but I'd rather
the thing I do
like
not
sit at a bench, you know what I mean, and eat it that way, like laying on the ground, like half on the ground.
It's definitely tougher to eat, yes.
Oh yeah, it's not like a...
Well, that's why there's picnic foods, like sandwiches.
And picnic benches.
And picnic baskets.
Picnic baskets?
We do a lot of Friday night, like, picnics, or like, in the house, we'll watch TV in the living room, we'll sit on the floor, and like it's always a nightmare on my back because I'm like trying to find a way to like sit upright against the couch or whatever. So I feel like maybe it's a younger person's game, but because of that, I get to watch Beauty and the Beast for the first time ever recently.
Ever
Never saw it.
I think with parks, it's more elderly people go through walks in the park, and they're elderly.
When I worked next to the Common, I walked through it every day. Like every day, I would find a reason to just walk. You know.
Oh, I walked through it, but like walking through versus like sitting down for like half an hour and like enjoying just the space of the park, I feel like is like sort of a lost art.
I'm a very impatient person though. Like I don't like to just sit. Like I don't like the beach for the same reason, because then you get there and like if other people are like trying to get a tan going and they're just gonna lay there for an hour, I'm like, so what do I do?
The beach
like,
sucks.
When I go to the beach, like I gotta like run in the water or play games or do something.
I love the beach. Go for a nice swim.
What's the appeal? I've had this argument so many times because my girlfriend loves the beach. They will literally spend 6 hours at the beach.
That's a long.
What are
fucking
you
day.
doing? What the fuck are you doing there for that long?
You're relaxing.
do it.
You're getting a little
sandy.
sun. The sound of
It's
the
too
waves
hot.
is relaxing.
It's salty. It's windy. It's uncomfortable in almost every aspect of living. The beach is uncomfortable. It's awful. The temperature's never right. It's always shit blowing around. It's what's the point? Like, and then let's go swim in this fucking salty, frozen, fucking seaweed water. What did I step on? What touched me?
Something
This
might
is
bite
gross.
me. Yeah.
I hate everything
I do
about it.
feel
Oh,
like
there's
our-
little bugs in the sand too. There's birds shitting everywhere.
Nick,
What's the
I'm
fun of
I'm-
this
I'm
fucking beach? I hate the
10,000% on
beach.
your side here. Yeah.
I was
Also,
never a beach guy for the same
You nailed
reasons.
it too.
Yeah.
The most aggravating weather you can ever have is windy. I would take 10 degrees below zero and no wind, and 105
Yes,
degrees
yeah.
with no wind. But if it's 50
nature's
and
air
windy,
conditioning.
ugh. It's not nature's
I mean-
air conditioner. It's annoying. It's confusing. It hurts your ears.
It breaks my Halloween decorations.
Yeah, you're the last person who should like the wind. Yeah, you're always like, I had to nail
didn't say
down
I didn't
fucking
say I
Lord
liked the
Jackimoff
wind.
again.
I feel like our parents' generation was a more patient though, because I feel like it was so normal for all of them to go to a beach and just like, you know, like drape like a towel like over their face while they lay there and try to get sun and just sit there for hours on end. And they had no smartphones. They had like nothing, like, unless they brought a book with them. They don't have headphones on for the most part. Like unless you brought your old big boombox with you.
That you need an umbrella for that too. I love reading books, right? And I love the idea of like you could have a time of your
So
day
read a
where you
book
have,
on the
like,
beach.
Here's if you don't have an umbrella, your eyes will go fucking bleached from staring at the white paper as the sun beats down on it. You need to have an umbrella to read a book at the beach, otherwise you're just gonna hurt your eyes all day.
So tilt the book more.
I could probably like glamp at the beach. Like I'd show up with like the truck full of equipment and just like set up stuff to just like make me feel like I'm not at the beach.
Like
while
Aziz
I'm
camping
there.
in Parks and Rec. I would do that at the beach for
Exactly
sure.
what I was
Yeah.
thinking of. Yeah.
The beach. You guys all need to learn how to relax. The beach is relaxing.
I can't relax
Yeah,
when
it's-
there's sand blowing in my face.
So you turn in a different direction.
Why? How about I turn in a different direction and walk to a house and sit there and relax? Because that's way more fun.
I'd rather have my bare feet in grass than my bare feet in sand.
Oh, all day. Yep.
Oh man, this man has the feet of a bear. Anyways, so we cut back to Malcolm and he's in the kitchen coaching his daughter for this like interaction with his girlfriend. And he's saying like she likes green, so maybe wear your chinos. And she went to a private school too, so maybe we could talk about that. And politics make her upset. And she's like, she loves rom-coms. And he's just going over like this whole list of things, trying to get his daughter ready for when she's going to meet his girlfriend.
I
He's
love
like,
the
maybe you
idea
should
of,
write
like,
this
she
down.
likes green. You should wear your green clothes. Like that wouldn't matter to any human being in the world. But, like, you know what? I liked her. She had green pants on.
He's like, maybe you should start writing some of this down. He's like, oh, I would love to, but I'm actually doing something called homework, so I need my pen at the moment. But when she gets here, let me know when I'm supposed to yell, I want my real mommy, and run out in tears. Or should I just surprise you when I do it?
This is fun. This makes me want to see this character more, right? Like they're giving a little depth to her now.
And he's like, come on, this is important to me. And she goes, Dad, I get it. It's your only chance for love, and I have complete control over your future happiness. And then he goes, every parenting book I read said to not let them believe that. So basically, this girl has all the chips, and she's aware. So Malcolm's phone goes off, and he sees he has a text from his sister Kelly. And it says, in the emergency room, can't find mom and dad. Now he's like, oh shit. He like kind of tucks into a hallway, and he calls her. Kelly, where are you? What can I do? Are you okay? What's the matter? She goes, what's the matter is that I have to make up a lie for my own brother to answer the phone. And then she says, you have to promise that you're going to come to mom and dad's anniversary. He's like, Kelly, I'm trying. They're going back and forth. And he's just like trying to like, basically he got stuck having to talk to one of his relatives. So as soon as he's in it, he's like trying to get out.
of it. Yeah.
So does he barely know his sister since he's been
Yeah.
away all this time?
Probably, yeah. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
know exactly when he moved. We know it's 20 years since the show ended, but he was still like in school at that point. So
And
He
they're
had
supposed
enough
to
time
be
to
like,
have a child.
That's
and
true.
the
Barely
child's
grown.
15,
15, I think,
Yeah.
I'm guessing Kelly's like 17-ish.
Yeah, I would guess like later high school. Again, all this makes Malcolm just seem awful. And then you feel bad too for his daughter, who probably would have a really good relationship with their aunt, who is a similar age to them and probably would have helped them through this weirdness of the family, which we find out is weirder than it's going to be in a couple minutes. I don't know. This is where it starts going downhill real fucking fast.
she's saying to Malcolm, like, I need you to promise me that you're going to come to mom and dad's anniversary. He's like, I'm trying. He's like, listen, all they ever talk about is whether or not you're going to be coming now. And they're old, Malcolm. They could die any second. And then she starts giving more gruesome, like decapitated in a car wreck, slowly choking to death on a respirator, being stabbed over and over by a drifter. And there is, and talked about it earlier, there is that idea of like, hey, you don't know what holiday's going to be the last with someone. And I'm glad that his sister's calling him out on that, at least, to put that kind of perspective on stuff.
Yeah, she seems to be the only one.
Well, she's the normal one-ish of the family.
Yeah.
Well, she's also the only one that's talked to him because she faked an emergency.
Well, she knew that was the only way she was going to get him to answer the phone. And he's telling his sister when she's giving him the whole spiel, too, like, listen, I'm doing everything I can to be there. It's just my charity is, it has me so busy right now. I like when she called him out and Kelly says to Malcolm, so you can figure out all this advanced infrastructure stuff for hundreds of charities and corporations, but even after 6 months notice, you can't plan a half day off.
It's becoming more apparent that it's not that he can, it's that he doesn't.
And he looks at the camera and is like, wow, that was mom level. Like, she saw right through his bullshit.
Also, 6 months, man. Come on. Get your shit together. Like, everybody knows, like, as you come down on, like, a holiday, an anniversary, like, you should need more than 6 months to figure that shit out.
But it's deliberate, which makes him worse.
Yeah, it makes him a fucking evil man. Yeah.
Like, it's their 40th wedding anniversary. It's a big event. It's important to them.
Yeah, and when his sister's trying to explain all that stuff, like, he's pretending that someone's calling for him. He's like, oh, what? I'm in a okay. Asked to, like, can you print me that report? And this is all to get out of this situation talking to his sister.
He flat out lies to not talk to his own sibling.
Who's like, I think they've already established like the most normal of the family, right? Like, so shouldn't you let that be your man on the inside is to keep talking to her?
If nothing else, because of their age, they don't have the baggage that he has with his brothers. You know what I mean? Like, so like there should be no anywhere near
It's
the
weird
level.
too, because like his daughter and his sister are within what, like 3 or 4 years of each other, if that.
Yeah, probably 2 to 3. That'd be my guess.
So in theory, they could be really good friends too. Like they're,
right. I think I was saying earlier, like
technically, but
would maybe help to shepherd through the high school experience by being like, I was there a couple of years ago. Like you're so close.
Yeah.
Next scene, we're back at the family's house, and Lois is on the phone while everyone else is in the background at like a table together making the party favors. And she's like talking to, I assume, the venue or whoever she at least hired to take care of a lot of the party expenses stuff. She's like, how do you not have glitter allowed? Like, it's a party venue. She wanted glitter for the spotlight dance to like throw into the air. Was that the plan? Because you start throwing glitter like that, it's going to get stuck at whatever venue you're at for years and years to come. You're not getting it all.
Yeah, the fact that she was surprised that she couldn't just vault fucking handfuls of glitter around everywhere was, it's like, I would have canceled this lady's fucking order on everything for assuming that.
You can buy glitter things for people as a prank. Like glitter's a nightmare that like it's a prank to people. Yeah.
It's like poop sender and glitter bombs.
And she's kind of going over all this stuff, but she's finding out like, oh, she like basically ordered the wrong. They had like multiple packages that were essentially called the same thing, and she got like the wrong one of that, and she's just trying to like, they're upcharging her on the phone now, right? So she's like, yeah, whatever, just do whatever it is you need. And then after that, she heads back to the table with everybody, and she's talking to Francis, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry to be taking all the attention away from your 40th birthday. And he goes, Mom, I'm 39. I was born on your first anniversary, not your wedding day. It's like, oh, 39, of course. And I didn't know, but he was born on their wedding day. So for whatever reason, they let him believe now that he's a year younger than he is, probably for like their own sake and saving face and when they were doing like Zooms and stuff. But
yeah,
I would be so mad when I found that out later on to be like, when I was 20, I could have been drinking legally for a whole year. Like that's where my brain immediately went to that, where it's like, wait a minute, you fucked me out of a year of drinking at like bars and like having to find a friend who'd go to liquor stores for us.
But the fact is, like, just, I don't know, like, that's going to be such a weird thing because he essentially is going to miss celebrating his 40th properly because he thinks it's his 39th.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, celebrating your 40th properly, I think, is subjective too.
Sure, as we're all kind of, well, we're half are already across that bridge at the moment, but
yeah, 2 of us are 40. My 40th birthday was celebrated the same way as my 39th. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see it as like a huge deal. Some people do. I kind of just choose to like every year's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and then Nick and I's birthdays are within like a few weeks of
next
each other.
Next couple months, yeah.
So like the next like month plus, you know, both of us will kind of be in the same boat. But I don't know. There's something about like the 40th birthday, like as we're approaching 40, I've been more like, okay, I feel like I don't do a lot on my birthday, but I was like, I can't ignore this one. Like I got to do something
Yeah.
for your birthday.
I don't want to make it like a big thing either, right? Like I don't want to like inconvenience people because I'm turning 40 either, right? Like I don't want to be like, hey, we're going to go have this like big, extravagant, expensive thing happen. Like that's, but yeah, no, just like some sort of get together, nothing fancy, nothing, I don't really care about it, honestly. It's not that I don't care about it, but like, I don't, it doesn't need to be this grand thing.
So like,
I feel the same way.
I can't think of the last time I had like a big grand birthday party. I rarely, my biggest thing I did is a few years ago, I was able to use my birthday for leverage to get you guys to see a convenience store with me. Like that. But like, I don't throw like big parties and stuff like that. I wouldn't do it for this one either. Like I said, I'm a month out and I haven't even thought about like specifically the date of my birthday. I still feel like I want to celebrate it, where most other years I don't care if I do anything. But for my 40th, I'm like, all right, I want to really celebrate in some capacity. I feel like what's happening here, though, is Francis is literally being robbed of his 40th birthday because it's going to pass while he thinks he's 39.
Well, the reason why she lied to him is because she didn't want him to know that he was conceived out of wedlock.
Yeah.
But are they that religious? Is that established in the show?
Yeah, but also he'll still have a 40th birthday, technically, unless he dies within the next year. Like
ignorance is bliss. If he thinks he's turning 40, he's turning 40.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like, was that like a thing you thought about your whole life? Like, what did it matter? You know what I mean? They stayed together afterwards. It wasn't like it was, even if not, like, who cares? We all end up here one way or another. Like, what does it matter how we fucking got here after a while?
I think it's an early lie you tell to your kid who's becoming sexually active and stuff. And at that point, do you just tell him you're lying? No, the lie's gone that far.
Yeah, at that point, the lie lives, yeah.
They're all having a little bit of a chit-chat situation, and we're getting a little bit more because we're getting like we're getting Francis's wife or girlfriend or whatever. And
wife.
It is wife? Okay. So now we're getting her like mixed in because she's talking to the family while they're doing the party favorite things. And they're asking them about like the new guest suite that they have. And they were talking about a couple of things and like, oh yeah, it was really homey. And then Hal's like, oh, your brother's becoming quite the handyman. And they're like, oh no, it was great. But like, just a heads up, like the toilet wasn't connected. Would have been cool to know about that.
That's a huge fucking bummer. That's a bad fucking thing to find out.
So like, not for nothing, like as they're retiling the bathroom multiple times and doing odd jobs just to find reasons to work together, they had an apartment that legit needed a lot of work ASAP and it got overlooked.
It's the garage, right?
Yeah, it was just the garage. They like retrofitted the garage.
Yeah, but when you're retiling the bathroom over and over and you have a guest house that needs work done, like focus your energy there instead.
And this isn't a spoiler or anything, but they show that garage house later, like in the series, and that's where there's just a shitload of Easter eggs from the show. Just little things that popped up.
That makes sense, right? Because that's where like things go, your garage, your attic.
So the whole family's continuing to talk still, and they're putting again, I don't know if they were goodie bags or if they're centerpieces for like when they have this event or whatever, but they're all working on them. During that, Francis's fiance, I guess, or girlfriend, whoever she was, poked out and said like, hey, did you ever talk to Malcolm? Talking to Lois. It's like, no, we keep trading emails back and forth. I know he's doing good things, but he's going to work himself to death. And while they're kind of talking about him, Kelly walks into the room and she very kind of casually goes, I just got the phone with Malcolm. He's not coming.
Which is like, I'm glad she did it, right?
Yeah, because he wasn't going to go and just completely lie about it.
And he was going to get away with it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so even if he's not going to go now, he has to at least address it with them now. He has to say like, hey, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, why protect him? They have no relationship.
Yeah. True.
I really like, too, if you caught it when Kelly tells him that he's not coming. Like, if you paid attention to the mom's face, like, she was really hovering between, like, shock and anger.
Yeah. She's fantastic. I really like her.
It's funny because it's not, like, a big deal. I mean, the show's been off air for a while, but, like, whereas everyone, like, you could really tell, the fact that she grayed up so much from the show, like, makes her look so much different from her last stint on the program versus like everyone else we've seen.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the alternate ending to Breaking Bad that they filmed?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, she's in it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing was a dream from Malcolm in the Middle, and it was Hal the whole time.
And I think we mentioned it when we did Malcolm in the Middle, but she's like been an actor for so long too, right? Like she acted so young, where like she's like the jilted Vietnam wife in movies. Where like it's so wild to see her now in 2020, fucking six.
So now we cut to Malcolm and Tristan, and they're walking towards the front door of Malcolm's house so she can finally talk to Leah. And it's like, all right, we can do this, and like they're hyping each other up. It's like, oh, do you need a pee? It's like, no, yes, no. So because she's nervous that she's gonna have to meet, essentially, they're officially boyfriend girlfriend, I guess. So
Yeah, I think so.
You're meeting your boyfriend's daughter, or whatever.
Also, is there an age cutoff? I think this is a weird thing, but like, when do you start saying partner? I've like noticed that as like a modern.
I've
thing.
wondered this myself.
Yeah, where it's like, when do you stop saying boyfriend girlfriend? Because it's like, you age out of it, and you're just like, this is my partner.
Because like, this is sound weird, but like partner always for me sounds like something like a gay couple would do.
Yeah, that's because that's always how it was. That's how like when we were kids, it was like they're partners.
Yeah.
My brain, and this is just old world stuff, but like my brain, if you say my partner, I assume that you're not in a conventional relationship, like straight male, straight female.
Oh, you're a cowboy.
So we have Malcolm and Tristan finally walk into the house, and Leah's there, and Malcolm introduces the two to one another, and they say hi, and then there's like silence for a little bit. And he's like, all right, that's fine. We're going in slowly. There's no rush. And then eventually we get like the icebreaker from Leah when she's asking Tristan, like, so how much did he prep you? She's like, when you were 4, you tried to scare Miss Rachel into canceling preschool by saying her mold didn't look right. And now they're going back and forth with like different things they said about one another. And I feel like most of them are like, obviously the idea wasn't that they were going to share this information with one another, but now they're both kind of like, this is the stuff that we got from Malcolm. And they start like really laughing as it goes on. Like they become very close in this very short time period.
They hit it off.
Yeah, they both love and hate this person at the same time, which is like a weird way to bond, but it's a way to bond.
I like that. I feel like by the time this came out, it was already like kind of dead. But do any of you guys still use Wordle? Not Joe, because we were going to have to explain what Wordle means to you, I assume.
I like go in and out of it. Like I'll go like weeks doing it, and weeks without doing it.
I actually do know what Wordle is.
Go back.
I don't use it, but I know what Wordle is.
I liked it when it first came out. It was fun, but then you just stopped checking it one day.
I liked it, but then it got annoying when everyone kept sharing their scores. Like, I don't give a fuck about your Wordle score.
Ferg just felt bad because he wasn't doing as well as everybody else. I liked the mini crossword. I ended up enjoying that more because it times you. Like you try to see how quickly you can do it.
I do like crosswords a lot. Yeah, I was gonna say the thing I have listed here that I started laughing after I read it was like, do you guys ever use aftershave? And I realized that this is like the wrong group to mention because like no one's shaving.
I gotta use it here and here.
Oh, do you use it? Okay, because I shave, and I've never used aftershave once. I've
never used
like,
aftershave.
A bottle of like
It's
Old Spice
delightful. It makes your
aftershave.
skin so soft, and you smell it all day.
Okay, interesting. Maybe I should try it. I've never. I do like a
And-
three week
And
shave.
every time you do it, you have to do the Kevin McAllister.
with a Ferg home alone, he's only 40.
So, yeah, these girls are now really bonding over being able to kind of make fun of Malcolm for his over prepping the two of them.
Well, then they move on to stop making fun of him and things he does.
Yes, and I don't want to glance past this. I know Gordo's not here, but there is the moment where we find out that if Tristan stands up too fast, she farts. And the instruction is to ignore it. And she's like, I ignore it. You don't have to ignore it.
I was more
That's a
pulled in by the
weird
fact that he puts aftershave on his bum.
Was that what that was? Well, they start going over all his things.
He basically
right?
does the Macarena after he puts on aftershave.
We found out that he found his way like into like the thought of politics at one point.
Well, you know why? Because on the original show, Lois was pressuring him to be president.
Oh, okay.
But also, more proof we've been talking this whole episode, he's a bad person. Only bad people want to be politicians. There's a bad gene in your brain that's like, I can be in charge. Like, nobody good.
There's good ones that think they can make some change.
They're still evil in their heart.
I don't think all of them are. I'm not going to generalize, but yeah, they're making fun of him now, which is what really is solidifying the bond between the two.
I'd make fun of him as well. The heartogram is so stupid.
I don't mind him.
I like him. I still throw that album on from time to time. I know there's a lot of them, but the main
I was gonna say that album. They got as they're like really bonding and kind of making fun of all his little nuances. You have him do like the look to camera. He's like, I've never been so happy to be humiliated in my life. This could be my family, my last checkbox. This is amazing. And as soon as that happens, his parents storm in the front door, and you just hear Lois go, Malcolm, we're not doing this by email or text or over the phone or by Zoom. We're going to talk about it. No matter what you have to arrange, you're going to be at our anniversary with the rest of the family. And that's when Leah goes, Dad? And she goes, you have a daughter? And then the daughter goes, she's alive? So
I will never forgive him for that.
So fucking angry at this moment.
That was one of those things where we talked about it earlier. Malcolm's character is not the most likable throughout this episode. But this to me is inexcusable. They don't even know that they have a granddaughter.
You know how much that would have meant to Hal?
I know. That's what gets me is the Hal thing. Like,
also keep in mind the other kids don't have any kids either, right?
No.
When we saw them earlier, did any of them have kids? No. So is this the only grandchild they have? Yeah.
And also like 15, we're guessing 15 years of being a grandparent, Christmases, birthdays, parties, summer, pool party, whatever. Imagine if somebody walked into your life tomorrow and said, I never told you, but we had a kid 15 years ago. The immediate guilt that I'm knowing all of you as well as I do, that you would all have.
Not just that, she's a young girl with no female role models. I think the mother would have been a big help with that.
I think you just, you robbed both sides of something
both people
important.
Get fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
If I think of having a younger kid, right, and Ferg, you have an older kid, but I'm sure you can relate to this because it's the same thing, right? But like the look, that the relationship they have with their grandparents, it's 50-50, right? It's important to them both. To rob that of them for 15 years, and again, not to be dark, we talked about it earlier, but like as everyone gets older, you're losing time, right? It's like you're taking that time away from them. I have very happy memories of my grandparents when I was a kid. I'd be very sad if I didn't have now, as they're not here.
I'm not going to say that if there was a lot of grandkids, like, who cares about this one? It's not that. But because she is the only grandkid, like, these are like the only opportunities that they had for a lot of these landmark things, like first Christmases and all this stuff. And it was like you completely stole that whole thing from them. So I can understand why the mom freaked out. And
Hal's response here is the most understandable response of all time, where he just collapses under the weight of depression of figuring this out. It just starts blubbering. So fucking funny.
His like legs stop working.
He doesn't know what to do. He's like in shock. Yeah.
He's like one of those people who like gets to the end of the marathon. Their legs are like, I can't fucking do it anymore, man. It's so fucking great.
But even after like all that stuff, like the father doesn't know what to make of himself. Like everybody's so confused. And like, what's happening? And then he just lets loose on everybody. He just starts yelling at everybody.
This is because of you. Which goes against what he said earlier when he said, it's not them, it's me.
Yeah.
He just blames them to their face.
And it's that everything that happens in his life that's bad is their fault. So basically every good thing that happens to him is completely of his own like strength and willpower. But everything other than that was the grandparents just ruining his whole life deliberately.
And then Malcolm here, his response, there's many a example of this, but like there are plenty of people who like murdered a bunch of people and they're being brought to death row and they freak out and they're like, I don't want to die. And you're like, fuck you, man. Like you kill people. Now you die. Like that's how this works. Or like this is Malcolm's response to me, where it's like, Ted Bundy crying about going to the gas chamber. It's like, no, man. Like, you fucking asshole. You brought this on yourself. You can't run away.
I do like it, though, when Malcolm screams. Just in general.
A good scream, yeah.
He's talking about how toxic they are and all this stuff. You know, like I
I
said.
know, that's like reserved for like, my parents were drunks who like beat us.
Right.
Like, this is not the case at all. And it's just a little absurd.
And if you send the kids down like the wrong rabbit hole when they get older and they're looking for relatives or at least information about their relatives, like they're going to be looking in the wrong places because the name isn't quite right.
This is like, though, like, if you have to find a way to get out of work one day, you're like, you don't want to say you have the flu because you're throwing that into the universe and the universe is giving you the flu. If you're saying, like, my parents are dead, you know what I mean? Like, that's throwing that into the universe, too. Like, I feel like it's just bad juju.
And when Malcolm's just explaining like all this stuff, like he's saying about how they're the reason that everything bad's ever happened to him, and you just see Hal just like so sad.
Oh, it's
like,
so depressing.
Wait, the biggest problems that we exist. And he like falls to the ground. He's so sad. And when Tristan goes to help him up, he goes, "Oh, thank you. Who are you?" She goes, "I don't know."
That's a great line, too. It's like, I don't fucking know, man. This poor woman got brought into this, and feel for Tristan, right? Where she's like, wait, I've been lied to as well. And I just got the, like, insanity of, like, I've been working up so much mentally to meet your daughter because I want her to like me so much. And then you've been telling me your parents are dead this whole time, and they just showed up, and I have to deal with this shit, too? Like, that's classic, like, I'm sorry, we're breaking up. Like, that's a breakup. Immediately, right?
So now he's like, okay, I can explain. Everybody just sit down. Like, just give me that, please. So everyone's sitting down waiting for him to talk. So you have his parents, his daughter, his girlfriend. They're all just sitting there looking at him. He looks at them and just fucking books it. He just completely gets out of town. And the funny thing is, like, you see him run and he runs out of the house to his car. Like he's being chased by a fucking serial killer and he doesn't have the keys. So he looks at the camera. He's like, oh, and then he just bolts down the street. And the street's so long and they just keep the one continuous shot on him to make this fucking poor guy run as long as possible.
I thought this was really funny.
He gets all the way to the end of the street and then like turns off.
Yeah. I thought that was really funny.
It's such a long, because you can hear the footsteps. It's such a long scene and you're like,
he ran to another sitcom.
Yeah, he might have. So
he runs into Abishola, just knocks her over. It's like, sorry.
So I was a little shocked with how long they let that last scene go, but that was it. That was a closeout.
I would have liked if they did like a meta thing where like he tagged in a stunt runner, like a block in, like you see him like go sideways, and some other guy who's like 2 feet taller than him keep running.
But yeah, that's the entirety of the episode, and I mean, it's like I said, we've covered Malcolm in the middle of the past, so we're just kind of almost doing this like amendment version of the story. So I don't have like a lot of like fun tidbits because like this show is such a. I tried reading up on it as best I can, and all I know is that the intent originally wasn't to just call it a miniseries. I don't think it was just gonna exist on a different network, and it probably wasn't meant to be like much more than the 4 episodes, anyways. That might have been the intent, but
I would guess that because it was going to be a movie originally, that like the 2-hour arc makes sense. That like the writer wrote a story, right? And they're like, "We'll make this a movie," and they're like, "We can't make it a movie." It's like, okay, well, you make a movie into 4 parts, right? That's how TV works. And they didn't want to like go from beyond that. And if like it does well, we can do more, which I do kind of like too, right? We're like, look, we wrote a fucking small story arc and we're going to stick to it versus just trying to like draw this shit out. And also people are busy. People have schedules. These are working people, right? Like, look, I can commit to this.
Bryan Cranston isn't cheap.
Also true, right? Yeah, we're like, I'm sure that's part of it. But I do like that they weren't like 12 episodes. I don't know. Sometimes, again, we mentioned the English thing earlier. Like maybe the story is just 4 episodes because obviously this is one story arc, right? Not like a sitcom goes for 10
How about you go
10 years.
5 episodes and make them all 22 minutes?
I would prefer that for sure. Like my biggest issue with this is that outside of Malcolm being an egregious asshole, it's 27 minutes an episode is too fucking long.
You know what the move is? If this was a weekly thing, second she busts through the door, that's when the episode ends.
Yep.
yeah.
And then the next episode picks up with them in the house.
I agree. And also maybe we cut down the Bruno Mars thing and we don't do the whole
Take
intro.
the tattoo scene away. You don't need that.
Yeah, there's a lot of cutting here I would have done. We could make this a sturdy 20 minutes.
I think you could have definitely cut this down to a more logical, like match the first half type of half-hour show. I don't think there's like a direct plan as of right now to do more episodes.
I think it just all depends on the success of this.
Yeah,
like how many
because
watches it gets, or whatever.
I won't reveal anything, but it ends with enough loose ends that they could carry this series on.
Sure. Yeah, with all that being said, we've talked about this for quite a bit, so might as well get into the green light or cancel. Gordo's not here, but if you go to S1E1 Pod, you'll be able to see his vote as well, which will be on a graphic that'll be on all our social medias. We'll get into it now, close this up. Ferg, I'll start with you.
All right, this is a cancel for me, and I don't want this to deter people from watching the series, because I think the series is a solid 6 out of 10, but based on this pilot alone, I hate this fucking pilot. It made me hate Malcolm. It's unforgivable what he did to the family. Especially if you're a fan of the original series, seeing all this, it fucking breaks your heart. And how are you going to watch something when you hate the main character? Based on just this, it's like, Hal is still Hal. He basically saves the whole thing for me. It just doesn't have that Malcolm in the Middle feel. And you can tell, there's a reason why we don't do miniseries, because we only got a taste of this, and this is awful. You're meant to keep watching the rest to fully understand a lot of this stuff. So it's probably going to get an unfair grade from all of us. I assume we're all going to cancel, but who knows? Yeah, based on just this pilot, cancel.
Nick.
Yeah, I'm gonna greenlight it. Ultimately,
Son of
I
a
don't
bitch.
know enough about the original run of this show because, like I said in the beginning, I didn't watch a ton of it to have a good like benchmark. And so a lot of this gets lost for me. I also feel like we have not done a great job. We've kind of villainized Malcolm enough, but the show is also funny. And the supporting cast is great. And I base my green lights primarily on the fact that I do want to watch the next episode. I don't love how shitty Malcolm is. I know enough about Malcolm in the Middle to know that this is too shitty. But I did laugh a bunch of times. And the story is interesting enough that I would like to see where it goes. So not a solid green light, but still a green light nonetheless, just based off of the fact that it's entertaining enough to keep me hooked for at least one more after this.
Joe.
I think in the middle of you, Ferg and Nick, it's a cancel for me. And I think the main reason, and again, we vilified, as you mentioned, Malcolm a lot, but I don't want to watch the next episode because of how this episode ends. Ferg, you mentioned if the parents just open the door and go, Malcolm, I'm in, I'm hooked. I want to see the next episode. I want to see where it goes. But then, Malcolm, you've been lying to us for 20 years? I'm just like, oh, fuck this, dude. I don't care. I'm out. I'm going to go watch Miami Vice again. Like, I don't want to watch any more of this. I think that's enough for it. I think there was some fun to this episode. It's fun to go home again, right? I think as we get older, especially, right? Like, wasn't like my favorite show or a show I watched religiously, but it is nice to see these characters again. It is a warm bath for a few moments, you know, but they just make him so shitty. And the one time I can't will I keep watching this is the reveal that he's just the worst dude. I didn't love this. It's a cancel for me.
Yeah. So for me, it's also a cancel, but I was like conflicted, and it's tough because when I watch it, I'm like, and this is where the whole miniseries thing kind of comes into play. Knowing that this is really intended to just be the 4 episodes, like I'm cool with it under that rule, right? Like if you're like, oh, we want to do like a 4 episode thing, I was like, yeah, that's fine. But if I was watching this as like a fresh, like we want to like see how long this could go, like would you want to make a series out of this? Not really. So miniseries, movie, fine. But this as a straight reboot, and like I wouldn't want to see much more than I am. I think there's enough here that like telling that story will be fine, and I'll probably watch the other 3 episodes. But just the way it came back, and like it just there's too many things that like I'm not getting enough nostalgia from the old show, and then the things that they did change are not things that I love with some of these characters. And if I can't root for the main character because he's not even like a love to hate him guy either, he's just kind of like a dick to everyone right now. It's just tough to like enjoy that. So it's canceled for me also. So I want to apologize to Malcolm in the Middle. Life's still unfair. You're getting a cancel from us. You only got 1 out of 4. Again, Gordo's vote will be included in a graphic that you'll see on our Instagram and X and all that stuff later on. S1E1 Pod is where you can go to find all that stuff. So go ahead and do that. But yeah, again, that's it for us this week. We'll catch you next week with another new episode. Until then, thank you. Goodbye.
I think we get the best Malcolm isn't coming, but he came because he's a kid. Because come.